I think he just dies. And I don't think there's anything that Hellraisers can do other than Chrono the lasso itself, which effectively still stuns the Huskar, to save him. And that's my concern. Blitz talked about no lack of save, and sometimes you can get away with that on heroes like Huskar, but in this particular instance, I think it's a very clear picture for how VP is going to win fights and take them down unless they just happen to get this smoke initiation Chrono. So what I'm saying is there is a recipe for Hellraisers to win the fight, and it requires like a sick coordinated Chrono into Disruptor ulti into maybe an arrow to follow up. And for VP, it requires Batrider Lasso Huskar. So I think one is much easier to execute than the other.
But the other one looks a lot cooler.
Yes, so if it happens, I'm ready. You know,
yeah, the fans are ready, the viewers are ready. I want to see the cooler action. But you're right, the other side, it's a bit more clear cut. It's a bit more, you know, the typical, the norm of what we've seen here. A little bit of aggressive pressure from both sides as they're trying to be a bit more offensive with their bounty grabs. But Zayak tries to run in and snipe it under, but is not successful.
What is his pathing? I think he accidentally right-clicked back to the high ground instead of... Yeah, he accidentally right-clicked to the high ground there. That's what happened. And he was trying to, like, weave through the trees on the low ground, but if you just click slightly on the high ground above it, you instead turn around, and that's what got him killed there. So I thought they might do some lane swap with the Batrider, but this is the other option because Bristleback does not want to lane against Huskar. And we've seen this before, and a lot of viewers I see always asking me, like, why aren't the supports on the opponent team stopping this? Usually you can't dedicate a side lane support to doing this, but to be honest with you, I think Kasani's approach here is pretty awesome to drag his own wave to basically make the lane happen elsewhere. I'm surprised no one didn't just walk around near the tier 3. That's like the only way that he could have prevented Huskar from doing this, and we'll see what ends up happening here, but already a little bit of a wonky lane. Just for the viewers at home, you just can't lane straight up against Huskar as Bristle, so you have to do some shenanigans, and then Huskar did a really good job of responding in his own way to what Bristleback was doing, so pretty cool there.
Definitely very curious how no one was going to be approaching this Bristleback. I know you had said it to me off camera that he does have experience playing this certainly in a lot of pubs. I firsthand haven't seen too much of the no one Bristleback in pro games, but very eager to see how he can adapt. And as you already mentioned plenty, it is a hard matchup to get into. We see bottom lane, that early disruptor harassment coming out. And, you know, as mentioned by the panel, this hero never sees the light of day, except in this region, it seems. And no headdress, though, on Zayak. So he can get away with these early Thunder Strikes.
Yeah, not really an item Nick's Assassin generally wants to build unless he's planning on staying in the lane permanently. He wants those boots to be able to roam more effectively, and he also just doesn't come into much gold as a 4-position hero. Some 4s have a natural way of farming. Nick's Assassin does not, so every little bit of net worth on this hero absolutely matters. And one thing I want to talk about Bristleback, we're seeing him a lot more in these games and across all regions. I think the Boots of Traveled nerf change actually helped heroes like Bristle who don't really want to move around the map to be more potent against the split push. But we're seeing this really close there, has those stick charges from the Huskar, but that's why Bristleback doesn't really want to lane heads up. But I do like this hero a lot more now that his problem is just getting ignored and getting kited around the map. And without these like Boots of Travel split pushers anymore, it makes it much easier for Bristle to kind of just run down lanes, barrel down, control a part of the map. And he's quite a tough hero to ever go on, as I'm sure very many low MMR pub players are aware of when they die by hitting him. But we see here a little bit of creep cutting as well from Resolution, so tons of creep cutting coming out. That's a lot of CS. A stacked small camp as well as an entire wave. Did split it with the Knicks, though, in terms of the experience, but
mid
he's
lane,
very happy about that.
Sani in a bit of trouble. No one on the fight back, takes it right
he's
to him.
Die again, though,
and even though no one had tipped, he tipped Roger on his previous step, does it again to let him know, I know you're there. I know you're being cheeky. And he continues to stay there. At the same moment, we see the takedown of Resolution done by Mimposhka. Continues to fire forward with the Thunderstrike. Does a second point in kinetic field just to lock the bat in place.
I'm not crazy. Roger was on VP, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a friendly, like former ally kind of a thing.
I think it's kind of something to do with that.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know
it's friendly,
the terms on
but
how
maybe maybe there's a little salt there.
We don't know. Whatever it may be,
spicy.
We're here to try to, indulge all potential concepts as the chase is on for Zayak here. And it looks like another takedown. Miposhka will pick that one up. His Thunderstrike getting a lot of mileage in this game early on. Meanwhile, up top, Funnick. Good old Funnick. Now, that's a guy who brings me back. At first, I thought with the Batrider pick, he was going to be playing the Batrider. That really would have been some Dota nostalgia for me. Old Funnick of Na'Vi and Batrider. Those were the days, BSJ. Those were the days. But I'm happy to see him still, in action. Wasn't he like worshiping the moon or something in the past?
I did hear some suspect comments or whatever about what Funnick believes in, I guess you could say.
But he's still playing Dota.
To each their own.
He's a very talented player. I'm excited to see him back in the battlefield and on a team like Hellraisers. They'll certainly have the opportunity to go against some of the best. And we see no one now. Roger's there, waiting for him to possibly come to the low ground, but now no one is just in a completely awkward spot, and Kasani will be there to finish him off.
This is the start Huskar needs, and I'm just going to keep an eye out for that first initial gank that VP has to kill this Huskar, because they're going to all-in him at some point, as we see a little bit of aggression coming out bottom. It is only level 3 on the Batrider, as opposed to level 5 of the Void. Swing and a miss.
Mark,
split the uprights.
And they'll have to backpedal from that one. So if there is going to be a call to action from Virtus.pro to put attention on this Huskar, BSJ, what would be their best course? Like, who do they have to get involved to make it happen?
I think it's Grimstroke Batrider.
Grimstroke Batrider.
Stand out, Nyx possibly to follow up. And the problem is this Batrider is only level 4 bottom. Time dilation makes it so you pretty much never want to lane heads up, as you just see here. You prevent the sticky napalm stacks and the movement speed slow. Really well played from Nyx here, as well as Miposhka. And Disruptor's really nice against Bat. If you've ever played Bat offlane against Disruptor, it's just super annoying. You can't really creep cut all that well. He has kinetic field to control you, glimpse. Usually Batrider relies on like fogging people by going up high grounds, and Thunderstrike prevents that as well. So all around, Disruptor, one of the worst 5-position matchups for Batrider as an offlaner. And I believe that's why they picked it.
And that's something they're looking into, that a lot of regions are not, because I know Batrider is a pretty international pickup. We've seen it across all regions, but we're not seeing enough disruptors, so I'm curious if more teams are going to start being privy to that or not. But we're seeing that continued possible aggression. Look at this. You see VP members all looking to surround this mid lane. The SWAT team's out there looking to make the approach for Kasani here if possible.
I love the way they're playing on VP despite being down by 1K. I like what HR is doing with their dominant lane matchups in the draft, but VP is just cutting creeps all over the place, playing this dodge game, kind of just making space for this free farm Wraith King top, who has 44 CS atop the CS charts. But needless to say, Void's getting the start he wants as well. Seems like pretty much every core in this game is pretty content, even the offlaners. Mirana has more farm than his offlaner. I think that has something to do with the kills mid, where he comes in later on after the Huskar died first.
I am surprised by how much XP Roger's been able to build up for himself, because it feels like he's never had a lane to really call home, except for, dancing around this mid lane a bit. But he doesn't quite catch the arrow there. He needs to warm up on these arrows a bit, though. He's having a hard time trying to line up the shot, and it's not the easiest game for Mirana, who's going to stun lock them in place for an arrow. No one really, so this one's all on Roger to try and make happen.
Yeah. Until they have the Yule Scepter on the Void Spirit, that's not really a reliable setup if he chooses to go for that. He is level 6 on Funnick despite the rough start. Dissimulate dodge, and actually just backs off.
Yeah.
1-2-2 skill build on him. I don't think I've ever seen that specifically, but I do think Bristleback's a better hero on Dire, especially in the mid lane, because of those 2 camps that he was farming right there. Very efficient, as we see Batrider going down once again. Pretty unlaneable, if you ask me, against the Disruptor Void, so maybe he'll look to rotate because of that. But yeah, those 2 camps for Bristleback, they're so efficient. You stack them up both at the same time, these 2 right here, and you just use the quills to farm both. I think these 2 camps are most abused by heroes like Bristleback, and they're mostly viable because of that on the Dire side.
I was going to say, is there something equivalent on the Radiant side to it? This is just a Dire perk.
Yeah, that is the one. When I was asked what I thought was the one benefit of being Dire, that was the only thing I could come up with myself. So I'm sure these players have other reasons, such as OG picking Dire last game or last series, but for me, that's the one that stands out the most.
No one has the double bracers online, and it looks to be building up into the Vanguard. I imagine eventually Crimson Guard kind of a get up here. Really getting durable. And for Kasani, he is very close to finishing out that armlet. Just 100 gold shy. And then we could see this Huskar get unleashed as the approach is coming to the bottom lane from Virtus.pro, looking to claim their first tower of the game in this bottom tier 1. Fantastic tower for the Dire to take, really, as we know, gives them the whole bottom jungle for themselves and could probably try to neuter down Hellraiser's economy game a bit.
Nice rotation by the Wraith King. Void was forced to rotate top because of it, and Void was previously just owning the Batrider bottom. I talked about what they were going to do because the Batrider's lane was so bad, and instead of avoiding it with the Batrider, they elect to rotate to the Batrider. So both teams, I think, are doing really good things right now. 8-1 kill score, but no means do I think Virtus.pro is at a significant disadvantage. It really is going to boil down to who gets the first major team fight win. And that's going to lead into Roche most likely. Bristleback plus Wraith King, very good at Roche, and obviously Huskar, one of the best Rochers in the game as well.
Yeah, up to this point, it's also part of the reason why it feels like Dota is a hard game for just anybody to watch and understand what's happening. You look at the score, that's not telling the whole story. You need to like really get a grasp of it on the game and its fundamentals to know who is really at the advantage right now, who's been able to get a lot in the laning phase. We're even around to watch the laning phase to know how things transpired to this point. You know, you really almost have to be in the know sometimes with Dota to understand what's going on.
Yeah, one of the reasons why it's so hard to watch if you're not an avid just lover of Dota, honestly, because there's nothing on the in your view on the HUD that tells you this team's winning 100%. Sometimes there are games where you can be up in net worth but actually be at the disadvantage. But either way, both teams kind of settling down, waiting to hit those timings. Disruptor's not quite level 6. Nyx just got his 6. And Huskar, even though he has this armlet, I think that Halberd's a pretty big deal for him against heroes like Bristle and Wraith King, who do just threaten to burst him down through that armlet toggle because of the crits from Wraith King and the minus armor, plus Warpath from the Bristleback.
And Wraith King has queued up. He's just going straight Radiance.
Yep, that's the standard.
Right to the big golden sword.
Oh, Treads, too. Usually you see Phase Glove of Haste, but Treads is a slightly cheaper, but you are weaker during the time that you're farming. So he's elected that his team does not need his help in any way. His participation is virtually none at this point in the game. And that's okay. If he thinks that's the case, that is implying he believes that the most important thing is that Radiance timing as soon as possible.
See a little trade here bottom, but there is a smoke movement going down up north.
Level 6 Disruptor, Chronosphere.
Yep, all of the ults are online. If they want to blow someone up, it may be Rezo. They're figuring if we could take this Batrider again, it would delay him from the Blink Dagger, but Rezo is letting them get the idea that they know that something's going on. Something's a bit fishy. So HR are able to kind of control most of the top map.
Miss every stun you don't throw, Zayak, so keep it up, buddy. Don't lose confidence. Nyx is just one of those heroes, you either hit them all or you hit none of them, so
ain't that how it
resolution.
Yeah, they finally made the call to go in, or at least they waited long enough for Rezo to show his face, and they made the approach, and there everybody is waiting around the corner, and Rezo goes down again. Uncharacteristic tough game for him, 0-4 on the Batrider. Most of that stemming from the hard laning matchup that you were talking about.
Yeah, for the 3 people in chat who care about my opinion on this, do not pick Batrider as an offlaner into Disruptor if you've seen it already. It is such a bad matchup, and you're seeing it there. He didn't even have to pop the Disruptor ultimate. It's just the kinetic field plus glimpse combo. Batrider's all about mobility, walking around, and being able to kite over cliffs, and you just can't do any of that. And
Not
you're
when
seeing
you're
it there.
a caged bat, if you will. Mid lane, Funnick diverting the attention from Virtus.pro where possible. They have been doing a good job of holding down this mid-tier 1, and it looks like they're pinging it out now and could possibly rotating over. Still have yet to see Virtus.pro really get their hands dirty in a fight. Obviously, it's been a hard and slow build-up, but you know we are at the point now. Rezo does have a boots to travel and has his lasso ready to go. Zayach is on the prowl with his Vendetta ult. Oh, but he's been spotted! So Huskar tries to hit him with everything he's got, but that pure damage is not going to be good enough to finish off old Husk.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if there's anybody in the remote vicinity to help him out, but
Glimpse back mid lane. They're looking to go for no one here, but he is, a tough cookie to crack. Can they make it through the iron shell of this Bristleback? 5 members of HR here. They don't want to have bystander casualties in the burst fire.
Wow.
And, woo, calculated from Kasani there.
How many stacks does he have on Huskar? 7 cool spray stacks. That's
certainly one more could have done it.
yeah, exponential growth on those, so that's pretty scary.
It's scary when you consider the teammates. It could have just been a teammate adding just that one extra auto attack. Could have just ended it very differently.
That's a huge kill for them. Going into the Roche pit, pretty hard for VP to contest. Wraith King still working on his timing. Batrider, because of the rough start, only has the boots of travel, no blink. As we see this kill on Zayak that then leads to killing Bristleback in the mid lane. Just the definition of out of position against Disruptor is
back in the game.
redefined.
We need to see that Roche is about to go down, but look at Rezo. Chrono's there. Can they get inside and grab it? Kasani is so damn low. The flame break bump is there. It is going to be Nyx who picks up the Aegis. And now Hellraisers unleashing a fury onto Virtus.pro just outside the pit. Rezo wants to take it right to Kasani. He wants vengeance, but the armlet toggling.
Courier?
Nyx does get the finish as he finishes off solo on the other side, but no one ultimately does fall. He was so thirsty for that revenge kill. He just didn't get it.
Are they just fighting that whole time without their Wraith King? I guess he has no Radiance yet. He rushed it pretty much, going treads, no phase glove haste or anything. And HR is ramping up the pace of his game and punishing the greed of this Wraith King build, which we see pretty much every Wraith King game, so they do know, and that's why I think they picked the Huskar. It's all about this time. I didn't think they'd be able to hit it this hard, but they have, and it just goes to show, even though I see a recipe for easy teamfight wins on VP, that really just doesn't matter if you're not able to take the teamfights because the opponent's timings are just faster than your own. But needless to say, they did not get the Aegis on Huskar. It is instead on the Void, which means there's a clear way for VP to make a move once they get this Radiance, and we should keep an eye out for that. And they should completely be aware of this as well on the side of HR.
Now what happens if they get the Radiance and they try to make something happen and it doesn't go well, BSJ? Is that like a taste of things to come then?
Yeah,
is this like
basically
almost all or nothing for Virtus.pro to hit this power peak and make it succeed?
You either need to dodge fights efficiently and without feeding too much, or win a huge fight off the back of this Radiance. As you see Resolution doing a little bit of cheeky jukes in the trees. This is good. This is space. 3 heroes top looking for him. Meanwhile, Wraith King just got his Radiance and Nyx is farming bottom. So what will they elect to do with it? We will find out soon enough.
He's there with the sword, ready to go. I don't see a smoke picked up by Rezo, but there is one on solo who could be heading that direction, but he's at risk of being potentially spotted out. Looks like they did ping him.
They have the defusal on Void.
Oh, lasso pullback. They've spotted a Void Spirit here. Moonlight Shadow also comes out as HR could rotate up north here to continue to participate solo. Gets jumped, but TP's out the last second to make it away.
Arrow?
Whoa.
Resolution's chilling in the trees once again, but you see how scared VP is and how hard it is for them to get kills. I'm digging it. He might queue up the BKB instead of the Ags because he bought just the Ogre Axe on the Huskar, but this Ags, the new one, for anyone who doesn't know, it makes it so it taunts for 2.5 seconds. It pierces BKB as well, which is not only really good against mobile heroes like Batrider, but it's also very nice against Bristleback because he's forced to look at you for 2.5 seconds.
Very true, actually. Okay, here we go. Chrono's out. They finally spotted that pesky Rezo hiding within the trees, and they will get the finish. Did he manage to farm up and finish that Blink Dagger? No, not yet. It's still going to be a bit of time before we can get that Batrider initiation tool, because they have no other real jump in outside of that onside of Virtus.pro. All right, but do have our Radiance player ready to go. And I know you're talking about Huskar a bit, but I don't know if you acknowledged he does have the halberd done.
Yes,
so that is a nice little disarm. If you're banking a lot of your damage on this Wraith King, that will certainly nerf a lot of it.
Yeah, the halberd just too good. The Sange regen amp. He also has the Vampire Fang, so it amps up the lifesteal from that. Just an all-around and fantastic item on Huskar. Gives you a bit of evasion as well, some damage, HP, everything the hero needs. He's a man-up hero in the truest of the sense. as we see them clearing out a bit of the creep wave mid, pushing in mid and top on HR, slowly but surely constricting the map from VP. No one's trying to step out here. They're pinging him.
Yeah,
this guy shouldn't be allowed to do this.
Jump out. They spotted the weaker Solo nearby. Full glimpse back onto no one. They lock him within a cage. They're going for the finish onto Solo. They will get it, but no one makes a hasty TP out from potential trouble. And HR will continue their stampede down this mid lane, it would look like. But, you know, credit to Virtus.pro. They continue to split the pressure across the map time and time again. I poke down to see, you know, Nyx Assassin has been pushing things out on the bottom side. Leaves a lot of opening for Wraith King now to kind of farm through there. And then Rezo non-stop pushing out that top lane. And, you know, making sure it's never an easy amount of pressure coming out from HR. They can have this mid lane push, but VP will continue to find ways to make the map work in their favor. But how do we feel that when the assault comes from HR to get to the high ground, how good is Virtus.pro's high ground defense going to be?
The lasso. It's kill threat based high ground defense, not like wave clear type of stuff. So it's just going to be that imminent threat if you lasso the Huskar into the tier 4s. But I don't know. I think the way that HR is playing as a team is just much crisper than VP thus far this game. Does use the double leap to Dust. Does manage to get him.
Yep. Triple leap to get close enough. Starfall's there, but Carapace very nicely reflected and stunned. Oh, they actually ping him. Spirit Vessel's been there, and there's the finish. Phonic will pick that up. And meanwhile, above, fighting for the outpost just before the 20-minute mark. Sani's going to be able to finish off Rezo, and they'll take that outpost too. Now, it looks like Virtus.pro will able to at least get the bottom outpost, so they will get some XP. But, you know, as you were mentioning, a lasso defense is nice to have, but you know, HR do have plenty of answers as a follow-up to that to try to bail out the Huskar, you know, leap in Chronosphere, the Moonlight Shadow. It will definitely be very tricky for Virtus.pro to try to extract a strong defense time and time again if HR keep this pressure forward.
Yeah, the problem is you have this Wraith King Radiance, so you want to hit that timing, but then Faceless Void has the Diffusal, so he can actually just Chrono the Wraith King and burn his mana, such to the fact that you can reliably burst the hero that's meant to survive the Chrono. And as we see here, the odds being updated for Virtus.pro, 8.5 to 1, about the same multiplier as the kill count, 19 to 1, ugly. Maybe if Virtus.pro gets that second kill, it'll be about the same, but that looks pretty rough.
It is a rough set of odds, but I think that's almost too rough given the situation.
I agree.
I think Virtus.pro could certainly come back better than that. Well, as I say, that Rezo does get picked off again. But this one's certainly still not over. This isn't a commanding lead as the Wraith King now gets caught out a bit.
They're just chain feeding.
I'm just eating my words. Yeah. This one's happening right now. They put the Wraith King in a box and make him take a knee, Brian. All right, well, those odds might be pretty dang good.
Their lineup has so much play potential on VP, and I don't think they played around each other very well at all in the mid game, and it's snowballed out of control real quick with
Wraith King
like
has
Huskar.
no buyback.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
He committed fully to go for this halberd and got the Sange complete, but now he's not going to be able to mount any sort of defense, and they'll just lose a tier 3.
You have this entire theory of how the game's going to go, and then one team just has 21 kills and the other one has 2. When they have Nyx Assassin, Grimstroke, Batrider, Wraith King, like they have stuns, they have initiation, they just seem content feeding relentlessly on the side of VP as they are smoked up.
Here we
but
go.
Now
this has got to be it. This
he already lost his ult though, right? Like none of these timings align. It's very strange.
Are they waiting for him? He's just going bottom. Are they? They're going to try to make this work as a 4-man.
Down 9K.
Yeah, and you're going into a Chrono. You're going into a Stag Storm. I think even Virtus.pro are second guessing this, but they've already been caught. They've been spotted. The Chrono's there. They've locked down 3. The arrow follow-up. Oh my God, the Meteor Hammer. Good Lord. HR coming with full force right now. Looking to take Virtus.pro and slam them down. Get the hell out of here.
And it's not that hard to do that combo when you're up by 11,000 net worth. But we got to witness it, the Chrono into the Disruptor Static Storm. Overwhelming team fight from HR. Base Siege with the Huskar. He has the Ags. Once again, does taunt, so we'll look forward to seeing that.
Woo! I did not. I had my camera fully focused on Virtus.pro's cute little huddle in the corner, and then that Void just came out from the balcony and just slammed down a Chronosphere that just ruined everything. Yeah. But you know, Virtus.pro were not able to do anything, Brian, which means they still have everything available to them to make something happen, and they have the Wraith King with his ultimate. Certainly, this must be it. The start of the comeback for Virtus.pro. Can they find that opening, though?
He knows they're there because he procced the Remnant without carapacing it on Zayak.
Now HR in a great position on the high ground. It doesn't matter. Rezo still wants to go for it, but they time walk out.
No Chrono, no Disrupt ulti, man. You got that. Now's the time.
They want to go, Brian. They do, but it's just such bad positioning.
You got to take what you can get, man. It seems like they're just content to keel over and die on the side of Virtus.pro. They haven't made a single, like, concerted effort of a move, right? With 3 or 4 heroes to gank. And that's what you have to do with this Wraith King hero, farming the entire game. They tried to farm on all 3 cores when they were losing quite the EG way.
Nice.
But,
free courier kill.
Yeah, value. Quill Spray does hit couriers.
Roche is coming up momentarily. Obviously, the Virtus.pro are trying to secure the perimeter. But by the time the Roche comes up and it's time to skirmish, HR will have everything locked and loaded yet again. The Chrono will be back online, certainly by that point.
Yeah, HR is doing a really good job of dodging fights when they have their cooldowns off.
Yeah. Okay, but I like this approach. From Virtus.pro, they're holding the Radiant side high ground here. But just by the way that HR are moving, they seem to always know that they're around there. Actually, they're arrowing into the pit, thinking that Virtus.pro could be closer to that side. But still, no easy catch yet. There it is. The call from Rezo. Moves in, gets the lasso pullback, trying to burst down this Void if possible. They've stunned in good. But
they got him.
They got him. And now, this is it.
Wait, they fought him with 5 heroes?
Moving in. Kasani in trouble. He's going to try to fight up with the Void Spirit now. Jump in Starstorm. It's nice to get the Rezo takedown, but this is Virtus.pro's time. Take the tier 1, backpedal, go for Roche. Does that sound like a good plan? Keep fighting forward?
I think the tier 1 into Roche is a great idea right now. They don't know if Void or Huskar have buyback. Huskar might be forced to buy back, but that never feels good on Huskar. But losing this Roche could be game-winning for the side of VP and game losing for HR.
I was just not expecting Rezo to get away with doing so much there. He managed to correctly identify where the Void was, pulled him right back into the arms of his team, and they just kept him on full lock.
Yeah, they have Chronosphere. They are respawning in 2 seconds, but that Bristleback minus armor does arrow the Wraith King, though, somehow. When
Huskar
there's a
back.
Roche right in front of it.
They got to pull out. They got to pull out. Now can they make this round 2 fight work without having the lasso, without having the Wraith King ult? They don't like it. Arrow, ooh, does find no one, but it's a big bristle.
They made it 10% health or so, so they're just going to walk in and take it.
They're going to just go for the steal, and they're going to get it.
There you go. Is that really a steal, though? You know, they bought back for it, so they did invest, and now that Void has cheese, he didn't go for BKB, though, so it is a bit greedy. I wouldn't be surprised if he doubles back now that he has the full Manta, queuing up the BKB. That's a bit greedy, but they've been winning up until this point. You lose that one fight. Classic carry syndrome of probably need a BKB. Let's buy that.
Armlet now done for Wraith King. 2.
That's a weirdly timed armlet. Third item, 25-minute armlet. But I guess he believes they need everything they can get now, right? He has the Vlad Spirit Vessel build on the on the Void Spirit, excuse me. I like this. Off lane, going for more of a utility build, and at this point, VP's way back in is really only to split you up and then pick you off. So he gives his team a lot more pick off with that Yule Scepter now. So he went for the group up early items into the split push catch items at this point in the game. Good transitioning item timings from Funnick as we see no one posturing in the mid lane.
Zayach rolls through with Vendetta, spots out the nearby HR squad, all smoked up, and they quickly take out the Nyx assassin. In the meantime, Kasani was able to finish out that bottom tier
Spider
1,
legs.
but they are chasing now for no one. Glimpse back.
Nice halberd.
Buyback from the Knicks. HR still kind of committed. There is the new taunt, pulling Bristleback forward, and then they're able to easily burst him down. And now he's going to be out over 70 seconds without a buyback. They spotted Rezo. Knicks leaps forward, but Rezo quickly blinks out the other side and makes a hasty retreat. They're trying to now slow down the potential roll of HR if they are trying to make their way to the base.
Let's see if they can manage to make another hold. They did win the one fight on the side of VP despite such a significant discrepancy in net worth. But now they have Aegis and Cheese on the side of HR as we get the setup into the arrow that we talked about in the draft.
Very nice.
Really well played there. 5-second arrow to follow up. And I really think Funnick's vision of this game with his items has been really good. Spirit Vessel to remove the Bristleback, Vlad's in order to secure Roshan, and then Yule's to secure these late game pickoffs that they really don't have much pickoff other than the Glimpse, which loses effectiveness once they start getting BKBs and
here we go again,
sitting in their base.
There it is. There's the arrow. There is the Huskar, and they get the Wraith King down. Now, of course, he does have the ultimate. Huskar trying to toggle it up. Goes in, you're right. Synced lassos together, fighting under that Static Storm, though. Starstorm, all the heavy pressure of the damage. They are able to burst down the Huskar and take away the Aegis, but the pullback of the Wraith King, he is out. Over a minute without a buyback. Rezo also forced to the sidelines. It is all on no one, but they are already going to raise the white flag. It's Virtus.pro going down and HR taking game number 1.
I just had faith in VP from the get-go, and I'm not going to lie, they looked really bad, and HR just looked